All right, movie night. Let's see, what do we have on the menu? It's been a while since I watched any of these. Let's see. Bronx Tale. Actually, never seen that movie. That Casablanca. No, it's kind of a cliche choice. Still a great movie though. The Descent. Yes, The Departed. I actually haven't seen this movie in years. Now that I have the 4K, I cannot wait to see how sharp this looks. Yeah, it's really a shame this is the only Scorsese film to win Best.
Hey!
What? I'm not wearing anything Bluey related.
What do you think you're doing?
Watching a movie.
But why are you watching it on a physical disc?
I already own it.
Oh my god. You're an even bigger loser than I thought.
Huh?
You know everybody uses streaming nowadays. That's why stores are completely getting rid of it, because it doesn't matter. There are plenty of reasons why streaming is the peak way to watch movies. You're just a loser who just keeps all those things on a shelf collecting nothing but dust, wasting your money, while you could just be watching a movie by just a click of a few buttons without worrying about any clutter whatsoever. So the fact that you still own physical media is so freaking lame. Nobody wants that anymore. You're a loser for buying it, and you're a loser for still supporting it. This is why nobody likes you. Oh yeah, and get rid of that Bluey doll, because Bluey is lame, and the fact that you're still 24 years old and you still have that makes you a freaking f***it.
Yeah, well, get this. You know what else physical media can be good for?
What?
This. I was going to throw this at you, but I think I'm going to use that for a bad movie. Hang on. Let's see. Godzilla 1998. Nah. Halloween Resurrection. Nah. Spider-Man 3. Nah. Superman 4. Quest for Peace. Nah. Suicide Squad. Nah. See, Tom and Jerry movie. Nah. Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey. Nah. Aha, yes, here we go. X-Men Origins Wolverine. Alright, now where was I? Ah, yes. Physical media forever. Hey guys, what is up? This is Matthew Davis Media once again, and welcome back to another Top 10. This is not a Bluey related Top 10. This is actually something that I've thought about doing for years. It's something that I know I'm not alone on when it comes to this type of stuff on YouTube, but when it comes to this topic, it's honestly a topic I felt like getting off my chest in a video on this channel, because it really bothers me that the media industry has been treating physical media like it doesn't matter, that most people should just stick to streaming because it's easier. And in some cases, sure, it is. But I feel like it's something that feels more useful when you're like going on a trip, or you are always at home, because I like experiencing movies in two ways: at the theater or at home in the highest possible resolution. That's why I do get rid of my Blu-rays in favor of 4K Blu-rays. Streaming can never replace physical media for me, as I only use it if I don't own that specific movie or if I want to watch something I'm probably not going to like. Well, I guess I should maybe explain more when I get to the reasons. Now, look, I was gonna originally title this Why Physical Media is Better Than Streaming, but that would be a very cliche and overused title. By the way, if you do prefer streaming over physical media, that's fine, more power to you. I'm just here to explain that it should not be the only way to watch movies at home. The fact that companies and stores have been getting rid of it has just broken me. I haven't been to Best Buy in over a year after they got rid of it. That's why I didn't do a Black Friday shopping video or Black Friday haul video because they got rid of it, because that was usually my go-to when it came to Black Friday, but they just completely got rid of it in favor of lawnmowers. Something that Home Depot and Lowe's has. If that's the case, why not just replace lawnmowers with movies? That would only make the logical sense. Take this 4K steelbook of the Bob's Burgers movie. This is a Best Buy exclusive. The only way to get this is probably through eBay with a bunch of scalpers. They release so many exclusives that you pretty much the only way to get them is online. But yeah, I have absolutely no reason to go back there now. If I need a new computer or a new phone case, I'll look somewhere else, like Target or Walmart, because at least Walmart, for now, still has movies. But enough of the long introduction, let's get into it. These are 10 reasons why physical media should always be an option. Now look, a lot of these reasons have been said tons of times, so some of the obvious ones I'll try not to go too long with, but anyways, let's begin. Number 10, the feeling. What is the one thing streaming doesn't have when it comes to media? The feeling of a movie in your hands. I remember renting physical media on Netflix, even if some of the movies were on streaming. I still got the disc instead because I just love the feeling of just taking a movie or game off the shelf and putting it in the player. That just felt good. We always had that when we got a VHS or DVD. Back at home video stores, I remember going to Blockbuster or Hollywood Video to rent those types of movies. It just got me excited to take it home and watch it, and I don't get that way when it comes to streaming. Just being able to have that movie in my hands just as I'm about to watch it. It just felt so satisfying. Not to mention, they always manage to be creative when putting them in sets when they have more than one movie. With the unique packaging or those beautiful shiny steelbooks, it just felt so good. The look of them and the feeling of holding it just before putting it in. That goes for games too, as those cartridges were the only way to get games and the only way consoles would work at the time. It just feels so good just being able to have those physical copies with you rather than just looking at the poster on the screen. Number 9. Some of the subscriptions might not have the movie you're looking for. What if you wanted to watch that one movie, but it isn't available on any of those streaming subscriptions you paid for? You just want to find that movie, but no streaming service has it. Are you really going to buy another subscription just to watch that one movie? Now, yes, you can get a free trial, and you can buy or rent it digitally, but here's the thing. What if you wanted to watch it again, but you only rented it and have to rent it again? Or maybe you wanted to buy it, but then somehow something happened to the internet. Or maybe your device broke. Like, I remember getting an iPad all the way back in 2012 and was blown away by how I could download movies digitally. But eventually, I had so many movies downloaded on there, I used all my data. And years later, I stopped using my iPad and it stopped working. And I lost all those movies. And that's why I have those movies on Blu-ray now. You don't have to worry when buying that one movie on Blu-ray or DVD or VHS back in the day because streaming didn't exist yet. You have that one movie, you can watch it whenever without anything being lost. And some people might say, what if it gets damaged? That's because people are irresponsible. I'm just saying it's much easier and less of a struggle just buying it physically instead of having to make all these accounts and download them using the internet just to watch that one movie. To me, it isn't worth getting that one subscription just to watch that one movie. And like I said before, you can get a free trial, but to me, it's not always worth it, especially since prices have gone up. You might as well just buy cable again. To me, the fact I'll always have the movie on my shelf, it makes me feel far less stressed and not having to worry if I want to watch that movie again. Number 8, no buffering or internet. This is one of those reasons that have been repeated over and over, but I'll gladly say it again. You never needed internet to watch a movie. All you needed was the disc. put it in, and not have to worry about internet connections whatsoever. Now sure, if you download a movie digitally, like on the App Store or the Play Store, you still don't need internet, but you still need data space, like I mentioned before. Another thing you never had to worry about was the quality dipping. Even when a movie is on streaming and has 4K resolution, there's still always the chance it's going to go down because of the internet. You need to pay for the internet, you need to pay for streaming services. I know Tubi is supposed to be free, but again, that still requires internet. But with a disc or VHS, you just need that, and the right player for it, then boom, nothing more to it. Plus, what if the internet was out? Or the servers for the streaming service you went to are down? That's why it's always been easy for people who stuck with physical media throughout their lives. It has been said before, but it has to be said again. This is why it's important to have physical copies too, but we're still only at number 8. So let's move on. Number 7. Extra content. When companies release movies with special editions or movies with additional content, they know people are probably more interested with what the movie they are about to watch or are going to watch. Some VHS tapes have some behind the scenes footage or other features once the movie is over, and then they decided to add more when DVDs became a thing, then continued it with more formats. Netflix, Hulu, and others usually never have that. Now sometimes they might, but with a different program that you have to go to. Sure, most people may just find bonus content on YouTube, or maybe would just prefer just watching the movie, but it just feels better having that whole package rather than just going to another part of that service, because usually they just have the movie. Now, I know not all physical copies have bonus stuff in them, but most of the time it is added when it comes to certain editions. I'm just saying physical copies can have more than just the movie, but all that extra stuff some people are probably interested in checking out too. It makes them more useful, like audio commentaries or behind the scenes footage, deleted scenes. They manage to have a good amount of stuff in them than just the movie, and that's why it's certainly more satisfying than just looking it up on the internet. Number 6. It can be helpful, even for gamers. I'm going to take a break from just movies and TV and talk about video games, because physical games I feel like are more important than ever, because I've been hearing rumors that the Nintendo Switch 2 might be the last of the consoles that support physical gaming. And I hope that isn't true, because that to me would be a terrible idea. Let me explain. Xbox 360, Wii, Wii U, Nintendo 3DS, what do all these consoles have in common? They're consoles who had their stores shut down, meaning you can't buy any more digital games on them. Even digital exclusive games are gone for good, so the only way you can play games on them is with discs or cartridges. Plus, sometimes games can be taken away from digital stores, but you can still use physical copies for those types of games. For example, this Ghostbusters game right here, which was a tie-in to the 2016 movie. This is a terrible game. I know people still treat the 2016 movie like it's the Spawn from hell that people think is worse than anything else, but in my opinion, this game is far worse. I'll watch the movie 100 more times over playing this again, but if you wanted to play it, I don't get why anyone would want to play it, but if you wanted to, you can still use the physical copy. It may not be in digital stores, but you can still use the disc. Or, what if you wanted to whip out the trusty PS3 and play the horrendous Rambo video game? The only way you can is with a physical copy. It wasn't on the digital store because of how badly it sucked. Or how about a game that's actually pretty good, like the SpongeBob movie game? Unless they remaster the game like Battle for Bikini Bottom in 2020, the physical copies still available for PS2, GameCube, or original Xbox are the ways you can play it. Unless there's a fan-released PC port or somewhere, it may not be in digital stores, but you can still use the disc. Plus, it's much more helpful for PS5 when it comes to backwards compatibility. For example, I still had Sekiro for PS4, but wanted to take my data over to PS5, but didn't want to go through all that struggle about having to have both consoles on to transfer the saved data. Well, I have the physical edition, and all I had to do was put the disc in the PS5, wait for it to load, and it still had my saved data without any struggle, and I can play where I last left off. When I bought Dark Souls 2 for PS4 and wanted to play it on PS5, it didn't do the same thing when I downloaded it. I still had to get my data from PS4 to PS5. Plus, the fact that it still has backwards compatibility makes it all the more helpful. That's why it would be a terrible idea if they just completely abandoned it with the next PlayStation or Xbox console. That's why I think making digital exclusives already for those consoles was a bad idea to begin with when releasing the digital-only PS5. This is why it's not just important for movies, but for games as well. I only downloaded games digitally if I had no choice, like Baldur's Gate 3. However, games like the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe got physical releases much later, and I prefer just waiting for those. Simply put, it always needs to be an option even for gamers. Digital stores eventually shut down for older game consoles, so you have no choice but to use discs, which still exist and can be bought online or places that sell older games. It just doesn't seem fair to just get rid of it. Besides, we wouldn't have collector's editions like these anymore. And these are fun trying to seek out. So really, there's much more of a point to get physical games than the gaming industry might think. Number 5. You keep it as long as you want. This is another very obvious reason, but it has to be said again. Streaming services remove movies all the time. Even their own exclusives aren't always safe from time to time. They'll be there for a few months, then disappear. Whenever Netflix mentions that something like Terminator 2 Judgment Day or Pulp Fiction was going to be removed, I could care less because I had them already at home on my shelf. I did get rid of my Blu-ray of Pulp Fiction, but that's because I have it on 4K now. I only get rid of movies that I want to, but I barely do that unless I upgrade them to 4K. Now sure, some people can use a VPN to change their location to find other movies unavailable in the US, but again, that also costs money. So I'd rather just have this. No one's gonna come into your house and take your movies away from you. It's you who decides if you still want to keep them. That's why I could care far less if specific movies get taken off. People who prefer streaming probably might, but not me, because I more than likely already have that movie. It's been said many times, but I might as well bring it up. Even if you could buy them digitally, there's still those occasional possibilities they might get removed. Like from the digital stores, of course. Again, I only stream movies if I don't have them. Like for example, I didn't have movies like Her or Song of the Sea, so I watched them on Netflix and loved them both so much I bought the Blu-rays of them immediately after I watched them. Now I don't have a reason to go back to Netflix, especially since they were removed. They might still come back, but if they did, I still don't need them. Hell, I have 2 copies of Song of the Sea now because I got the Irish Folklore Trilogy on Blu-ray. Even more reason. Besides, look at that packaging. You can't look at it with streaming. Needless to say, I could care less if they removed everything from their library. Number 4. It makes the experience more exciting. Let's go back to a time when you could just walk into a video rental store or maybe a place that sells physical media and you see that one movie you want to watch and just get so excited because you get that chance in your hands. You grab it, look at it, take it home, you get to pop it in the player anticipating the movie. This always happened to me when I was a kid. Like, I never got a chance to see the movie Up in theaters, and me and my family were part of the Disney Movie Club, and they always sent us DVDs of newly released movies. When I saw that we got Up in the mail on DVD, I was so excited that I was finally gonna watch that movie. I literally took that DVD, was about to put it in the player, but my mom told me we had to wait to watch it, and I felt a little impatient because I just wanted to put that movie in. I never got that excited when using Netflix. We usually just scrolled through and just put the movie on and be like, oh, let's watch this. Plus, my internet when I was younger was awful, so it was always buffering, but I don't need to keep bringing that up. All I'm saying is that the build-up to watching a movie feels more exciting when using a disc or VHS. You take that copy, take the disc out, anticipating the experience when you put it in, you go to the menu to push play. It feels so much more exciting. I never feel that way when I go to streaming. That experience just doesn't feel exciting. The push of 2 buttons just doesn't click with me as putting a disc in does. Even when new movies come out, ones that I'd never seen before, yes, I get excited to watch them, but the build up to the experience just goes by too fast. Because all I get is a poster with a description rather than any info on the back of the box or artwork, or the fact that I can choose movies just by scrolling through the menu. It just doesn't feel as good. It never felt as exciting. It just felt too simple. And yes, streaming is supposed to make things easier, at least so it seems, but I never needed it to be that easy. I want to experience something I'll remember forever, like into the theater or going into the store and finding that one movie or that one game. It feels more like a journey to finding that movie I wanted to watch or that one game I wanted to play. It felt like I was going to get far more without worrying if my internet goes down, for movies anyway, at least. It just felt more like an experience to me, taking the disc, putting it in, waiting for the menu to appear. It always felt more exciting than just sitting on my couch or chair scrolling through. Some people might not care about that experience. They just want to watch a movie without the struggle, and I get that. But for us physical media collectors, it's certainly an experience we prefer. Number 3, not having to worry about content being cut or censored. Streaming always has the power to cut things out of the stuff we stream, even when new movies come out, or TV episodes. That's the biggest thing they like to remove, like the SpongeBob episode involving the panty raid scene, which no one complained about, but Nick was like, nope, that classic episode that people enjoyed has to go. That panty raid scene is way too much for the kids. If there's one thing we learned, disturbing amounts of gore was far more necessary. Or how about episodes of South Park? Cartoon Wars 1 and 2 and 200 and 201 were completely removed for its mentioning of Muhammad and Kyle's speech about censorship. There is no way to stream those episodes, however, they can still be watched on the DVD and Blu-ray sets of the show. Now yes, 201 was censored, but it's still better than not having the episode at all. Or if you had the old DVD, Blu-ray, or VHS of Toy Story 2, remember when they cut the scene of Stinky Pete and the 2 dolls and the bloopers bit? You can still watch that if you have those, which makes me regret getting rid of my old Blu-ray of Toy Story 2 because the 4K release cut it. So yes, re-releases of physical media can still be cut, but there's still no damage left after. As long as those older physical copies are out there, there are still ways to watch them at home without having to look at clips online and just watch the whole thing. Plus, how do most Americans watch Bluey? Why, with Disney Plus, of course. Well, that actually isn't the best way to watch it. If you wanted to watch the whole show without anything being censored, you can buy the DVD or Blu-ray sets with the original Australian releases, uncensored and uncut. Oh, and it has the episode Dad Baby, which Disney Plus refused to put on, and yes, you can watch the whole episode on YouTube, but who knows what will happen to YouTube in the future. And like I said, you still need internet. The fact that streaming can just get rid of certain things from movies and TV just by clipping them won't fix the fact that old physical copies still exist. And if you have a copy of that movie or TV show already, there's no way of them to hack into that physical copy to get rid of anything, because that's obviously not how it works. Oh yeah, and how about the fact that TV shows can just be removed altogether, like Max for some reason keeps getting rid of popular cartoons? Well, get this. I go into Walmart all the time and see full DVD sets of those beloved cartoons. But they keep their god-awful recreation of Velma, which no one even wanted to begin with. Well, at least they did one thing right, and that's the fact that they just completely killed it after season 2. But anyways, this is why it's not a good idea getting rid of your physical copies in favor of streaming, because you might never know what they'll do to change that movie or show you love. More of a reason for it to just be an option. Number 2, no subscription or monthly pay. This is a giant no-brainer, but again, I have to bring it up, even though most people know. When you buy a movie physically, you keep that movie forever. But the media just assumes that we need every single streaming service now. But here's the problem. They always raise the prices, as Netflix boosted up to $24.99 a month. Plus, with all these other streaming services that have all these movies you can only watch there, with every streaming service, it basically is trying to tell you to get them. But here's the thing, sometimes their exclusives do release on physical media, like Netflix releases their exclusives as part of the Criterion Collection, like The Irishman and Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio. With these, I have no reason to go back to Netflix to watch them. It's very helpful for people who don't use Netflix, yes. So you have to pay for the movies when it comes to buying them on physical media, but you only gotta do that once, and never again. Sure, what if you don't like the movie? Well, sell it. Or maybe a friend who has Netflix might, well, I don't know. But again, it's nice when they release their exclusives so you don't have to go back to that streaming service. Like Prey. I have the 4K now. I have no reason to use Hulu, as I barely even use it. Hell, I only used Apple TV Plus once. to watch one movie, and that was Wolfwalkers. And I never went back to it again. And I loved it so much, I hoped they had a physical release one day. And they did as part of the Irish Folklore trilogy. Yet again. So I'm happy I don't gotta go back to watch it again on there. That's why they really need to release movies like Barbarian, or Killers of the Flower Moon, or RRR on Blu-ray, because a lot of people can't always afford to keep paying for all these subscriptions at once. That's why I feel we get way too many streaming services nowadays. It shouldn't be our only way to experience them at home from now on. Besides, most people on the internet, when they hear this, just say they're going to cancel their subscriptions because most people aren't rich. They can't always afford to keep paying for streaming services all the time, so if they think raising the prices is going to help, they should know better. It just makes more sense to have two options, or maybe that's it. Maybe they know they can make more money by getting people to pay monthly. If that's the case, that's just sad. Sure, you yourself might be able to afford it, but many others can't. Even more of a reason why it always needs to be an option, but we aren't even at the top spot yet. But before we get there, I do have a couple of honorable mentions. What if you want to watch the credits? This one really isn't that important. I'll bring it up anyways. Sometimes it can be irritating when autoplay turns on and the screen cuts out so it shows other movies. What if I wanted to watch the credits just to hear that music? Or something cool happens during the credits? Physical media never interrupts that. No scrolling, ads, or trailer interruptions. We don't come to movies to watch ads. We just want to watch the movie. And the fact that streaming services are forcing in ads now, yeah, this isn't cable, you know. Besides, that scrolling, yeah, like I mentioned, it feels less exciting when you look for movies. Not to mention the fact that when another movie plays, they play a trailer to the next movie. Bro, I can look it up on YouTube before deciding if I want to watch it. It's fun to collect. All that cool packaging and those out-of-print movies feel so satisfying to try and find and collect to show off in your next collection video. Like seriously, who makes a collection video of their Netflix list?
Hey guys, what is up? This is Matthew Davis me once again, and welcome to my Netflix Q collection. Now, over here we have, okay, well I did have Skyfall, and I did have The Conjuring, and I did have Top Gun, but I think they might have disappeared. Well, that's my collection. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys later. Word out.
And the number one biggest reason physical media should always be an option is it was all we had at the time, and nobody cared. This is the biggest thing most people have forgotten, that back in the 80s and the 90s we had Laserdiscs, VHS, DVDs. We couldn't rely on going on the internet to watch a movie. The closest thing we could do when it comes to just waiting for that one movie to come on was waiting until the movie came on TV, hoping we got lucky. There was no way of looking up a movie on a streaming service because it was never a thing. And when it was new in the late 2000s, people still used DVDs because Netflix's library wasn't that big yet. We always relied on video stores or Walmart having that one movie we wanted. I remember when Best Buy's options were huge. Same with Target and Walmart. But they just want to get rid of it because they think it doesn't matter. Or maybe they like going on Amazon. Well, I think that's also not very valid because Amazon is more irritating to get movies because, like I said before, you could just walk in and it would take like 5 minutes to get, but now it takes a few days. That's why I feel like it's still unfair. It just amazes me they don't think it matters, but back then, when it was the only thing we had, nobody cared. All those people were fine without the internet or streaming to watch a movie or play a game, but that's what got people more excited, being able to walk into that store and find that VHS you want to get. Now, I wasn't born in the 80s or 90s, but I know that from all the talk about the media platform today, nobody complained about how much it sucked having to rely on physical media to watch a movie. People like myself preferred doing that, and people who moved on to streaming might think it's far easier now, when it really isn't. It's more frustrating than you think. You never need the internet, or an account, or money to pay for each month. That's why it still needs to be a thing. I can accept nobody using a newspaper or payphones or anything like that anymore, but physical media is more important now than ever. People lived without streaming for years. They were completely okay with going to a theater or renting a VHS. Hell, some companies still slowly make VHS tapes. Like this copy of VHS 2. This is a real VHS copy of the movie that was officially licensed, and yes, it works. It can still be a thing. Hell, they released a VHS of Alien Romulus that also works, which I find funny because when Jeremy Jahns rated it, he rated it worth buying on VHS instead of buying it on Blu-ray, as if they listened to him. So it goes to show they can still make any form of any movie. The media industry may think all we need is streaming now, but with all I've said, things that others have said in the past about this, the fact that so many YouTubers, including myself, to this day still collect physical media, as long as it still exists, I will continue to support it. Now, I'm not saying I'm gonna not stream anymore. Like I said, I only use it if I have no other option. But I do. Besides, I was fine without having to watch Disney movies on Disney+. I rewatched Inside Out on my regular Blu-ray before Inside Out 2 came out. I rewatched Moana on my 4K Blu-ray before Moana 2 came out. And when they ever release Zootopia 2, I'll watch my 4K Blu-ray of Zootopia. It's seriously a good thing they can still be released. Disney really needs to have most or all of their movies on physical media still. Yeah, except those. They can keep those. But then again, they removed Artemis Fowl, but nobody cared. Oh, and Netflix, you can also keep Amelia Perez. Yes, I watched it, and I'm just praying it doesn't win Best Picture. Though I have a feeling they are gonna pull another crash on us. Please don't. Please don't. You made the right choices the previous few years, but though I know Criterion is just gonna have a physical release anyway, like I mentioned before, but I pretty much feel most people get the point. Physical media was our go-to when watching movies at home, and to me, it will always be the best way, and streaming can never replace that experience for me. Not even digital. But you get my point. You got my point from the very beginning, because it's been said many times, but I just had to mention it on my own channel. Streaming might be useful from time to time, but in my eyes, it will never beat the physical media industry. As long as I'm still alive, as long as physical media still exists, that's my go-to. And streaming, I'm fine if it never existed. I may have missed some more reasons why it should be an option, but let me know why physical media should always be an option to you. I swear, this whole thing reminds me of that one song from Bob's Burger, where Bob sings a song about regular fries being better than sweet potato fries. I feel like recreating that song, but with the lyrics replaced with physical media being better than streaming. Physical media is the best way to watch movies. Physical media is the very best way. Streaming services are overrated, baby. Gotta watch physical media. Anyways, I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, be sure to like and maybe subscribe for more. I make content weekly when it comes to movies and video games coming out. And, yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys later. Word out.